Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Hope Ignited, the talk show. I'm your girl, Brigitte Brown-Jackson, the behavioral wealth strategist, and I'm so happy to be here with my co-host today. Hey, Heather Bird.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Heather Bird, and I am an international award-winning writer, writing coach, and CEO of Bird's World, where we help you write your dynamic books. Mother-daughter dynamic duo, what you up to?
Woo, honey, what a loaded question.
We're up to a lot over here. We never know what we're going to be talking about, but we always know it's going to be amazing.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be fun, and it's
Yes.
going to help the world, right?
Yeah. And we are both coaches. I'm Coach Rochelle.
And I'm Coach Alisha Schwartz, and we are the mother-daughter dynamic duo. And really,
boy,
well, go ahead.
are we a duo?
We are. And our mission is to work with various women going through different stages of life. And also, we are shadow experts.
Yes.
We like to dig into your shadow and shine the light.
Baby.
Find the gifts.
I think that's what we're going to be doing today, right? We're going to be digging into those shadows today.
We are digging down. And so it's all about self-forgiveness.
I think it's a combo, though. Self-forgiveness and forgiveness of others,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't you
Well,
think?
first, I feel
Because-
that you have to forgive I believe anyhow, if you need to forgive yourself, then it's that much easier to forgive others. It just doesn't work the other way.
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful thing for each and every one of us to look at our lives and see where we can forgive ourselves. I think I have to take the hair out of my eyes because I can't see myself.
All right, everybody. That's why we love them. Isn't that right, Heather Bird? That's why we love them so much. The Coach Rochelle, she's just going to just be authentically herself.
Oh, yes, I will.
I love
All
it.
day, every day.
So,
Can I ask you something, Coach Rochelle?
Yeah.
So
Uh-oh.
why are you so authentically like that?
Because I never had a voice. And so as I began really getting to know that I do have a voice, and what had happened is that for many, many years, when you don't have a voice, so you become a good listener because you keep your mouth shut. But when you do have a voice, it was like I didn't shut up. And people would say, listen, the phone is ringing. I have to go, because I couldn't stop talking. There was so much I needed to say. And so I became so myself as I've grown younger, where I'm so connected to who I am. And I love who I am because I've worked 47 years on my own self and helping those. So it's like, you're 77. It's like, I can say and do. You like me, it doesn't matter. I like me. And that basically is, and I have fun because I happen to be funny.
Yeah.
So I like to have fun. And sometimes I may say a few things, but I'll try.
Potty mouth. The potty mouth.
So that's kind of why
But I'm always forgiving her,
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish doing your thing. I just want the people to understand, because that's the part that I love about you. You're just so authentically you. And you're funny, you're pure, just a great person to be around. So go ahead.
I'm not a virgin. I'm pure, but I'm not a virgin. So
there's like, oh my Lord.
This is all about forgiveness.
I love all of this.
So, but getting back to the topic, I think for us to be able to move forward in life, we have got to forgive ourselves.
Also, there's a great quote by Emmett Fox, Emmett Fox, and it says, when you hold resentment against anyone, you are attaching yourself by a hook that is stronger than steel. So if you think about, when we're holding such resentment to somebody else, we're really attached to them like steel. So it's only when we can forgive ourselves and them, we cut the cord, and then we're free. So we don't have to carry them with us. Whoever you are in resentment with, or you're in disharmony with, right? You're carrying them with you.
Right.
And they don't even care. They don't even know.
They're living their life.
You're holding it. So, it's important to just, one, be aware that you are angry and resentful, right? Or else you can't shift and forgive because you're holding it.
And so you can move forward. And so, there's a thing that I just wanted to share. I have so many stories, but I won't take up the time. I had to forgive my ex-husband.
Chloe wants to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, sure
I'm
does.
so
I have to get her.
but
Chloe said this is her talk show.
oh yeah.
Hold on, wait for her to come back.
We'll forgive her.
We need to forgive her,
We'll forgive
which
her.
is hard.
Say hi, Chloe.
You got to pull her up closer.
Yeah. Right?
There she is. Hey, Chloe.
So we're forgiving you, Chloe.
All
So
right.
now you have to be a good girl. In any event, I knew I had to forgive my ex-husband. And one of the major things was because of the fact that he's in my life with my children. And I just didn't want to carry that with me. I mean, I've forgiven him for a lot, but that was really a major thing. And I didn't want to hold that in my body. So I had to do a lot of forgiveness around this relationship, which I did. And one of the things was healing your heart. And it was with him, not physically. And so by doing that, it released me.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? I have women that 30 years they were married, they're divorced, and they're still pissed off at them.
Mm.
And they're carrying that. There's no forgiveness. They blame them. Well, you have to look at yourself and say, where am I responsible? You've got to take some responsibility.
And I also think most people don't want to take responsibility because that means they have to look at themselves. That means they have to change. That means they have to be no longer a victim of their life and pointing the finger. They did it to me when 3 fingers are pointing back at yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was going to joke and say, so I can't hold my 20-year grudge against my ex-husband. I have to let it go.
No.
Unless you want to carry him on your back.
No, I don't. It's a joke. I don't care.
She's like, I don't do this for the record. Let's just make this real clear. This is not a thing.
It's a joke. It's a joke. But seriously, I did not have that resentment. I did have areas. I would go in and out. I'm not going to say that. But when we first separated, actually, the day we went to court and the judge finalized the divorce, I walked up to him. He didn't believe me. He couldn't even accept it because I said, thank you. And he thought I was trying to be funny. And I was like, no, I'm really not. Am I upset that we're in divorce court right now? Surely am. But I was able to see all of the value that he added in my life for those 15 years. For those 15 years, I got, 2 beautiful children out of it. For those 15 years, he was able to be, my children's a wonderful, wonderful stepfather to my oldest 2. For 15 years, he pushed me and got behind me. And I had just finished my master's degree, literally 2 months before we went to court. And so he didn't believe me when I was saying thank you. And I was saying thank you because, when he met me, I wasn't in the position of when he left me, and so I had to give him his due because he had a lot to do with the creation of the new Brigitte. Yeah. And so, we gotta let the stuff go because again, it doesn't make any sense to carry. I love how you say that, carry the people. If you think about that, putting somebody on your back and literally physically carrying them. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
No,
I just had to joke about that though. No, it's been 20 years. And I thank him because you know how some people say, well, Heather will know this. Heather, they say this in our tribe that we're in. Release people to their destiny.
Destiny. Yup.
He released me to my destiny, and I got that man to put 2 rings on it. Look, if Beyonce say put a ring on it, he put 2 rings on it. Hey, I am very, very blessed in that. And because of that, I'm grateful to him because we could have stayed and been most miserable and and then I still would be looking. So people have to really put stuff in perspective. So thank you, Rochelle, for sharing that. And I I'm a jokester, so I had to joke. I'm done.
No, that's cool though. What you going to say?
No, I was going to say also what you were sharing, Brigitte, in that, seeing the gifts of the forgiveness is maybe you can ask yourself, how can I use this experience to become the kind of person I long to be? Just to really ask yourself some of these questions so that, it's easier to see a gift in it. Right?
So I'm piggybacking to that, and it's not on my shoulders now, is that, when I got married, I was very, very young, and I just wanted to be taken care of because I wasn't in my home. And I figured this was like he was going to be an accountant, and it was just wonderful. Well, I was wrong. So my journey started. But the thing that was the most important to me is my mentor once said to me, nobody's coming to save you. And let me tell you.
That part.
Rewind. We need
What do you mean?
I'm serious. I think a lot of people need to hear that again. So I'm serious. Say that again.
Say it again.
Nobody's coming to save you. And it was like, oh my God. And it was very hard to digest that because mostly all my life I wanted to be taken care of. So that was, and then at 70 years old, he was in a crazy rage and he just looked at me and said, that's it. I'm not helping you. I'm not supporting you. Not that it was that much, but I was grateful for the time.
I think you said it and then he released.
No, I was the other. No, I would never have said it. And then what happened was,
I was trying to give her credit.
But then what happened was I was so numb for 2 days. I couldn't what am I going to do? How am I going to live? I was really, and then the second day I heard God said, now you're ready to take care of yourself. And I'm a slow learner and a late bloomer, but I got it. Boy, did I get it. So, it happens at different stages of your life. And I think it's really surrendering and trusting that you will always be taken care of.
There goes that word again, surrender. I feel like we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
My word for 2022 was surrender. And within that surrendering, and we're talking about forgiveness today. One of the ways in which that process, I walked myself through that process, was being able to identify the lessons, right? It wasn't that there was something that had been lost. It was like, what did I learn from this situation that helped opened up the door for me to begin to forgive myself before I even start forgiving others. One of the things that I said I don't have an ex-husband out there. Y'all like, I don't have an ex-husband, but I do got some exes, right? And one of the things that I did most recently for a good 2 months straight, because I was having a really difficult time, like waking up in the morning. And so the way to get me through that morning period, like literally morning as in good morning, but also MOURNING, right? Was the first thing I said when I woke up in the morning was, thank you, universe. I am grateful. I am free. And Brigitte, you made me think of that when you were talking about thanking your ex-husband, and that being something that, probably caught him off guard, but understanding the freedom and the possibility that's in front of you because of this thing that is no longer on your shoulder, because of this thing that you are no longer carrying, and being able to accept that. I think acceptance is a part of the forgiveness path that we're all, taking. It is hard work, though. It is hard work. You have to ask yourself really serious questions. You have to be honest with yourself. Like if you're lying about yourself to yourself and not taking accountability, you're never going to be able to heal in the way that you need to. And so making sure you're asking yourself questions, having someone else ask you questions, being honest in your answer. I'm the writer, right? So journaling around those things. There are certain things that are going to come through in the writing process that is not going to come through when you're just talking to someone else. There's something about when you are writing, your ability to lie to yourself is a little harder So think about it though. Think about when you journal. You're like, ooh, or you go back and read. I'm reading old journal entries from a couple of months ago, and I was like, ooh, that's what I was talking about, right? There's a piece of me that I didn't want to admit, and so just finding different techniques to move you through that forgiveness process is really helpful.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
Go ahead, Brigitte. Go ahead.
I was saying one of the things that I've been doing with clients, as well as just on my speaking platforms, is talking to people how to process that through their emotions and putting a label on the emotion. And so, for instance, we're talking about forgiveness, and a lot of times forgiveness stems because there's a hurt, or unforgiveness rather, because there's a hurt that happened. Absolutely. And all a hurt just tells us is that an expectation went unmet. And so if we have an unmet expectation, then we become hurt. And as you just said, Heather, I was able to say thank you to him, and he didn't understand. He thought I was being facetious. I really wasn't, because at that point I had understood there was a hurt. I expected my children to grow up in a 2-parent family household. But what I was able to do is see the gratitude and to see the bigger picture, to see all of the other blessings that I had during that time. And so I was able to, in that moment, I'm not going to tell you, I vacillated back and forth, and it hurt, not hurt.
It's not a straight line. I think that's important to know.
It was not a straight
really
line.
important to know.
It was not a straight line. But when you understand where those emotions are stemming from, those emotions don't have to be negative. Actually, in a recent podcast, I shared and talked about those emotions are valuable. Yeah. Actually, they're needed. And so you have that. And so that hurt, that anger, that frustration, those things are just telling us there's something there that's lacking. And when we understand what it is, now we can move and maneuver around it.
Yeah. And I would just kind of echo what you're saying. And if we're going deeper into the shadow, I can say in my own story, having a learning disability, which was my wound, and I didn't have the self-esteem, and I didn't have the confidence. And that was a self-forgiveness journey that took a very long time for me to feel confident, to feel worthy, to feel like I mattered. That was an evolutionary onion. Like the layers of an onion, the shadow is just so deep. And until you, like you were saying, until you really have the awareness and are willing to look at yourself and say, wait a minute, I'm really not stupid. There's a gift in my stupidness. There's a gift. There's a resourcefulness that I have because I have my learning disability.
Reframing. I'm hearing reframing, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that we're using the right language to talk about ourselves the way that we would want to use the same language to talk about someone else.
Yep.
Being gracious with ourselves in how we're presenting ourselves to other people and talking about ourselves, even in our own mind.
Yeah. And so I think that's part of the journey for each of us, that has something that's really wounded us besides the person, let's say your ex-husband or your ex-boyfriend. But if we're talking about self, I can look at my story and go, wow, this is really what has got me where I am today, and also has healed my heart in a lot of ways for me to stand and share and, feel like I'm worthy enough to be here.
And I think of course, in shadow work is that there are gifts in all of this. So it's really looking to see and feel, what are the gifts in this?
Where's the light in?
And where is the gifts are the light.
Yeah.
And it's really like, wow, that really does make sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's really important to really look at who you are. And when things
and we're talking about the shadow, and Chloe keeps barking. That's our shadow.
She's in the shadow.
She's the shadow. She is now shadow.
Disruptive darling. Hey.
And it's really, it's such a incredible euphoric feeling when you do forgive. It just lightens you.
There is a lift.
Yeah, it really, really is. And it's like when I went for my divorce, I saw that we went into his chamber, Alisha and I went, and he was just a nice looking guy. So I asked him, I had said to him, gee, do you know, did I say, you know any single men?
Yeah,
Or something like that. And I was getting divorced. And are you divorced? No, are you single?
No, he said, are you single?
He asked me?
Yeah, I think that was
Oh,
true.
okay,
It
whatever.
was so many years ago.
I mean, so it's so interesting how
Yeah.
you can shift it, because it was such a cathartic feeling that after so many years of being afraid to sever the cord, I was now legally doing that. And it was like, it was such a good feeling. And so we celebrated. We really did. And so that was like, I'll never forget that. It was just such a great, great thing. And so many other things in life, in forgiveness of your parents. And, you know, everybody uses the verbiage, they didn't know any better, but in fact, they did not. And if you really look at that, they didn't. They really didn't.
Yeah.
So you know where they come from, and you can understand why you've picked up certain traits because of that. And a lot of them are, what's the, they're so, like, they've gone through the Holocaust, and they've gone through, so it's lineage, and it's a lot generational.
Yeah.
So it's really going through all of that to give yourself that path of freedom, which is my word for this year. Everything is freedom. And it's such a good
peace. Mine is
because
peace.
it's peace, mine's freedom.
Yeah, you know, I love that because that's my word too. Wait a minute.
Let's go. Let's go.
Love it. What'd you say?
What was Heather's?
Freedom. Oh, Heather's. What's yours?
Alignment.
How is it working for you?
So far, it started early. I had surrender and alignment attack me all at once. December 2023 was clearing the way for my December 2022 was clearing the way for my January 2023. So they were working together to make sure.
Well, you were saying, you know, we were talking about it the last time, is that be careful what word you choose, because it's going to show right up.
Yeah, but sometimes you choose the word that is meant for you. You don't even know what it's doing, what it's going to do for you. So who knows what my 2023 is going to look like because I chose alignment. But it's something that was definitely necessary for me. And as people are like choosing different words for their year and thinking about how they are actually living that out, I think, you know, to ask you all a question too of like, what do you think is the most important thing either I should do or we should do to be aware as we are growing and developing into the person that we want to be, and really like leaning into our words. Like, what do you think we should be doing?
I have a great suggestion. Now write it down because it's important.
Hold on.
Got my pen and paper. I'm ready.
You ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Write a forgiveness letter to yourself, and then rip it up.
Well, first you write it to yourself.
I just said that.
Okay, okay,
What?
go ahead.
And then you can write a forgiveness letter to whomever you want to forgive.
Correct.
Is that okay?
That's perfect.
So am I. And I tell you, it's such a good feeling.
Yeah. And then you
Burn
can either
it.
burn it or rip it
it
up.
Whatever you want to do. You don't have to say anything to the person.
Just be safe when you're burning it.
Yeah, because energetically, it's already severed.
Yeah, I love that part. I love the burning. I've done them both. I love the burning because again, you have to be very careful, like you said. But I love the burning because it's burning it. It's just so much better. And depending on what you're burning, as a child, I had abuse, and you know, I was able to write that letter to that person, and I burned it and I buried it. I burned it and then I dug up and I buried it in my backyard. And it's like, I've let it go, because even though I thought I had let it go years prior, it wasn't let go. And I was still carrying it, and I carried into relationships until finally I was like, enough is enough. This doesn't get to control me anymore. And it doesn't control me anymore. What does it come up? It does come up. But when it tries to come up, I have to remind myself that is in the grave. It's not just burned, it is in the grave.
Yes.
The other thing you could do is just ask yourself, like on a daily basis, what can I do today to forgive myself? Because there's so much in a day that can happen. And if we can just stop and remember, Chloe, I'm going to forgive her soon because she just keeps barking. But like, forgive yourself every day, because there's something to always forgive.
Yeah.
I forgive myself for, not being patient with that person, or, something little like that.
Yeah.
These are good nuggets. If y'all ain't writing this down, I don't know what y'all are doing here. Like I literally got my pen and I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
It's real.
Listen, you're a good student.
That's a very powerful exercise of getting into the habit of that graciousness, of that forgiveness, to help release whatever it is. Like you said, it's on your shoulder, on your back, whatever you are carrying. Just imagine being one thing lighter.
Yeah.
Every single day, how much lighter you'll be in 365 days. Like that.
And then look at yourself. Another good one, take a picture of yourself at the beginning of the year.
Before you do.
Picture of yourself. And then maybe 3 months, 90 days, usually is a good thing, 90 days. Take another picture and see how much lighter you'll look, because your whole face shifts energetically when you let go of all that emotional toxicity.
Ooh, it's amazing what we carry around with us.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I'm gonna go here again with these emotion stuff. Like I said, I just been on this thing. I love being a behavioral wealth coach, but then one of the emotions that goes with that is guilt. And so a lot of times we're holding on to guilt, and all guilt is, it's just telling us, it's a lesson. Guilt says, I've done something where you have violated your own standards.
Ooh,
because I violated my own standard, now I'm feeling guilty. Or if somebody else thinks that you violate theirs, they try to make you feel guilty. And in either case, you don't hold it. You just say, okay, I course correct, I change it, I'm no longer there, and then you move on. And that way you don't keep it, again, riding on you, holding on to it, and it causes so much in your life. And so I just refuse to be guilty. For example, I have a whole lot of stuff that I need to do, like a lot of stuff. And so I got this big old long to-do list and all of this stuff. And I was feeling guilty for a few days because I took a couple of days off. And then you know what I found out? I said, you know what? I just read 12-week year again. And it said the average person has 40 hours worth of work, incomplete work, the average person. So I said, you know what? That's my average work. Did I do the tactics I was supposed to do this week? Yes, I did.
I love you.
Did I get some things accomplished this week? Oh, yes, I did. So all that other stuff that I didn't get to, I refuse to be guilty about that. I'm just going to course correct.
And there's a great thing about guilt, and my mentor used to say it: the guilty seek punishment.
Oh,
the guilty seek punishment.
Yeah, you punish yourself.
So, I need y'all to stop dropping the.
So that was by, she used to say that all the time. When you're in guilt, just think the guilty seek punishment, and then it'll knock you out of that trance and say, why would I go there?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to punish myself, so I'm not going to feel guilty.
Yeah, because
you're the only one that's hurting.
Just make a commitment not to do it again. I'm not going to do it again, and I'm going to stay true to my word.
Exactly.
And if it happens to happen again, I'm going to give myself grace, and I'm not going to do it again.
But it's probably going to happen differently. Like, if you're conscious about not making that mistake, it might happen, but not the same way.
Right.
And then you'll have new information, new lessons that you can learn, and then begin to look out for that.
And the other thing is, when you're in guilt, right? You're punishing yourself, and you go into this negative internal dialogue, right, about yourself, and you beat yourself up, and that's part of, again, self-forgiveness, self-love.
Yes.
Wow. Ladies, this has been amazing today. Oh my Lord. That's why people need to buy this book. They need to
Yes.
follow us. They need to follow you all. That shadow work that you do is just amazing. And again, Heather, I love to talk about how your cadence and everything about you is just absolutely amazing. And so for the audience, if you do not have the book, there's a picture of the book right there. Hope Ignited. Heather Bird, let me bring this back down so you can see her backdrop. She got it in the backdrop today for us. She's our Vanna. But let's share and talk a little bit about something that interests you in the book. So, Coach Rochelle, Coach Alisha, your book, your chapter was called "Becoming Us."
Yeah.
What do you want to tell the people about becoming us?
You know, it's funny you say that because I was reading it today, and as I'm reading all of this, and I'm thinking, oh, thank God. Thank God I'm past this. Thank you, God. I mean, it was really tough. And to have the commitment to myself, no matter how painful it might have been, I was just so committed to finding out who I am. So when I saw that, it was like, oh, God, what a relief this was, you know? And so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like I was saying, my whole thing about my learning disability, I certainly wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today and being comfortable in my skin to just share who I am and all of the pain. And I'm not in the pain anymore.
Right.
I'm just sharing the pain so that other people can see that there's a way and there's hope. There's hope.
Oh, yeah.
There's hope.
Yeah. All our stories give people hope.
And in self-forgiveness, you can have hope.
Yeah. That is very, very true.
Yes.
So we share that. We all share that hope.
Everyone who wrote this in the stories and wrote their stories, it's inspirational.
And you know, it also
to
tells
you,
others that, wow, if they can do it, it's giving them permission to do it as well.
And you can.
And you can, no matter what, you can. It takes work.
Yeah, you have to
look at that. It's work. But
Definitely,
down the road, it's easier than what you do.
So true. And it makes you younger.
Yeah, it does.
I love that part. Look, give me that.
Younger and more beautiful, then let go of all those people that you're holding, that unforgiven heart. And,
give me that any day. Give me that any day. All right, Heather Bird Roberts. What about you? Writing hope and imagining tomorrow.
Yes. I think one of the things that I really want people to understand, specifically with my chapter, but I think the whole book in general, like we're talking about hope, we're talking about different types of hope that shows up for us, right? I think understanding our magic, understanding our power within our own messaging. And by you telling your story, like they just talked about this, right? By telling your story, you become a messenger of hope. There is a lesson in what you have gone through. And by sharing that lesson, you allow other people to be able to see themselves in your story. So you're not only a messenger of hope, but you could be a messenger of joy. You could be a messenger of possibility. And through all of this, you have the opportunity to heal others with the story. Like I refer to my community as hummingbirds. And so not necessarily revolving around the actual bird, but when you think about humming, there is a healing sensation. There's a healing power that comes.
Can we do it? Can we?
You want to do it?
You want to
do it?
Show the people. Show the people.
We can do it real quick.
I need a hum right now.
We need a hum right now. So feel free to sit up in your chair, put your feet flat on the floor. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Whenever you are feeling stressed or there is a need for clarity, right, while you're sitting down, I want you to inhale really deeply for me. And then when you exhale out, you're going to exhale out with a really good Look at y'all leaning into that. Yes. Right? Let's do that one more time. I always do it twice because the first time is never enough. It never breaks up all the things I need to break up, right? So we're going to inhale for a second time. And when you exhale and send that hum out, you want to send it out to the part of your body that needs it the most. All right. So go ahead and inhale for me. And then exhale out with a really good I felt mine right here. I needed healing.
I needed it
Right here.
Right there.
Right here in my chest, right? So when you close your eyes, first of all, you have an opportunity to be more in touch with your body. And then when you're intentionally humming, for me, it's like the hum breaks up all of the gook. It breaks up all of the hardness that is in your body, right? And so by sharing your message with others, you give them an opportunity to not only see themselves, but begin to work through that, right? You all talked about shadow work. We're talking about forgiveness. And if we hold all of that inside of our bodies, again, we talked about that weight on our back, we're not able to move as freely. And so one of the things that I really love about the book itself is not only providing hope for others, but then there are some like concrete steps of how you can do that. Humming being one of them, right? Also, what are some of the foods that you can eat? What are some of the scents that you could take in to help brighten your mood? Like all of those things are in the book. So you want to make sure you check out Hoping. Oh, I pointed in the right direction, y'all. The mirror didn't.
I know. I always do the opposite side.
We'll see what happens. But make sure y'all check out the book, right? Everyone needs a little bit of hope.
And where can they get the book?
There's that book.
You can get the book on Amazon. We could drop that link too in the show notes, so you all have a copy of that link. But want to make sure that you get your daily dose of hope. And there are 13 different stories.
12 stories, 13 authors, and then the 2 other women. The introduction
and the preface. And y'all got a half of a month's worth of stories. So I'm serious. Take some time before you go to bed. Get the book. Take some time before you go to bed and read a chapter.
Yes.
And then come back to us and let us know what you got from that chapter. Let's begin to have conversations. This isn't something that is just meant to be in a book. That's why we're having this talk show. This is why we're beginning these conversations, right? So come back to us and let us know what chapter stood out for you. What were some tools that you took that you could run with, right? What are some lessons? Where did you see yourself? This is a conversation for sure.
Definitely.
Love it.
And saying, where can they buy the book? They can buy the book literally any place that books are sold, but it does happen to be on Amazon. But you can go to any bookstore and they can order the book for you. My name, as I said at the beginning, is Brigitte Brown Jackson, and I am the editor of the book and the founder of Ubuntu Press, which Ubuntu means I am because you are. And so we wanted to have this book, women sharing their stories to bless other people. And I absolutely love the fact that, God dropped it in my spirit to be able, to do this, because so many people needed to be inflated because they were deflated, during the pandemic that hit the whole entire world. And so we're really excited to have this and to be able to do it. So I share in the introduction just why, again, as Heather just had us do that breathing in, why you're able to inhale, that hope that is much, much needed. So great book, some amazing stories, some amazing women. So I'm like Heather, I want people to be able to share, why and what. And so we've had some amazing women share some things that just, it blessed them. I had somebody read just the introduction, and they said that before they even got into the book, they were really, really blessed. And so we love hearing those stories and everything. So we just appreciate people being here. We're going to wrap back around, and mother-daughter dynamic duo. What's your takeaway?
Well, they can come to our podcast, Together We Rise.
All right.
And that's on
Wednesday,
twice a month.
and share
8
their
o'clock
story
at Eastern Standard Time.
But I think the takeaway really is that's what, like everyone's saying here, the book is to give you inspiration. And we're just highlighting, topics that we know are going to help you. So whether, it's Heather with her message, which is powerful, and Brigitte, who came up with it,
Yeah.
right? Or our story, or the other 12 other people that wrote stories. It's to really highlight that you're not alone, number one, and that there is hope if you look for it. We're just the messengers to share that with you.
And give it as a gift. I mean, just gift it to
Valentine's
somebody.
Day is coming up.
Day.
Show somebody you love them.
Yes.
Give them some hope.
Yes.
Give them a book.
Love it.
As they're in the tub with their roses.
Right.
Exactly.
That's a great thing to do for somebody as well.
I feel grateful.
I do too.
That we're part of it.
Yes.
And I just feel like so many people in the world need hope, especially now.
Yeah. I agree with that. Hope is like so powerful. The word itself is so powerful. It really, really is. Wow. I'm going to read this because it says hope.
Yeah.
Wow, I need some hope because I feel hopeless.
Yeah. And there are times you do.
You do.
So then all you have to do, grab the book and get some hope.
I promise you, I had to do that this summer. Last year I lost my dad. And so I had to go back and pull that book out because when I was writing that book, I lost my niece. And I pulled the book out and literally read back my own words and said, Brigitte, you've been here before and you understand this. You know better than this. And so not like know better than not to happen, but I'm saying I know how to bring myself into a place of gratitude. I was able to speak to my dad literally 2 hours before he took his last breath. He wasn't sick. He just fell asleep and didn't wake up. Wow. But he never wanted to be taken care of. He wanted to go out that way. And so I had to say, you know what, Lord, I'm missing. But I'm glad you honored his prayer that he's been singing for like 30 years. He was like, if I got to go, I wouldn't go in my sleep. And
isn't that powerful?
Yeah. Yeah. So I had to pull that book out myself. So yeah, it helps. Heather, what's your final take?
Oof. I would say, y'all, the notes, and there was something I even missed. I'm gonna have to go back and look at this myself because there was something I forgot to write down because y'all had hit me like twice. But the thing that I want to be able to take with me is while I'm journaling, right? Being able to ask myself the question, what can I forgive myself for today? And be able to get into the habit of asking myself that question and then begin to dissect what that actually means for myself, because I'll be able to do that work, right? And so I'm excited to be able to dive into that work so that I can be able to understand myself a little bit more and just take notice of things that are going on around me.
Yeah. And it's so great because, one of the things I know is like I could be driving in my car and I have to forgive myself all the time because I am just so impatient. I'm like, God, forgive me. Please forgive myself. I'm so sorry for getting so impatient. But it's the littlest thing. It's like what you're saying. You're going to self-reflect so you can change that.
And as long as you keep on doing forgiveness, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So you catch it right away and you go, okay, what's going on here? And in a second, you know what to do.
Yeah.
What is it that I need to forgive myself for?
It's a practice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm from this day forward, I am adapting the practice of forgiveness on a daily basis.
Love that. Yes.
It's so
intentionally doing that work.
Self-forgiveness.
I can't wait to see what you look like in a month.
Yeah. Take a picture.
I mean, not that one here. I can just be like, bing, screenshot.
I know.
And then come holler at me in 90 days.
I love it. I love it.
Wow.
Exactly. Repurpose this. I love it.
Stories are so rich. They're so rich.
Yeah.
And there's so much juice in it and so much gold. There's so much richness and gold in it.
They say the
gold is in the dark. Yeah. And it is true. It really is. So keep loving yourself and keep just forgiving yourself.
You become lighter.
Yeah.
You become happier, and you look better.
Yeah. 10 years off your face.
Whoop, whoop, you're
I like to say
shining.
behavioral wealth. You add wealth to your life, you know,
Yeah.
through your behaviors, behaviors. And so people think
100%.
wealth is not just monetary. Wealth is anything that you have added to you. And so if you have better things added because you chose better behavior, great. Well, I'm going to show the actual other authors since you all have brought it up real quick. So chapter 1 is by Kamisha Muhammad, Hope, Legacy, Elevate, and Impact. I mean, she has a phenomenal story. Chapter 2, for all those romantics out there, Maria Green talks about hopeless romantic. Chapter 3, Praise Your Way Through. Author Michelle Robinson talks about, you know, getting through the pandemic and through the power of prayer and praise. Rasaya, all the way from the other side of the world. Hope Not Fears, A Life of Joy, talking about motherhood and career choices. So every chapter, Tiffany, oh my God, how she was literally miraculously healed. You got to read it. You got to read it. So her chapter is about faith. And I like literally, she has something. The doctor said one thing and the doctors were proven wrong. We know who the mother-daughter dynamic duo is, Becoming Us. Chapter 7, Flourish in the Fire with C. Morgan. She has an amazing testimony. Chapter 8 happens to be my sister, Trisha Duckworth, and she talks about hope through healing on a community and an individual level. Y'all see that mega horn in her hand? She literally is a civil activist. And so chapter 9, my girl Donata Mooring, she talks about the journey of hope and mindfulness, and in the fact that she's a sleep coach and helping people understand how to get prosperity through that way. Our girl Val Fabre-Williams talk about wake up to hope, and Nicole Dixon Mays, keep hope alive. Oh my God, her testimony. She talks about where she was brought from. If you see that picture of her, you would never, ever, ever, ever know. And then last, but definitely not least, our girl here tonight, Heather Bird Roberts, none other than that writing coach. Yes. And then yours truly, the introduction. And our forward is by the marvelous, beautiful co-pastor Carla Allen of the Greater Life Apostolic Church right here in Detroit, Michigan. Yes. And so we got a dynamic book. It's a dynamic book. So we want people to get it. You know, we start talking about this, we'll keep on going, but our time is up, ladies. So do you have what's one word that you would take away? Just one word.
Self-love.
Not 2 words, one word. Self-love can be hyphenated, so that's one word. Okay.
Love. Unconditional. Love.
Love. What's your word, Heather?
I'm going back to surrender.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
What's yours?
I think my word would be my word. This today was liberating. This was liberating today. All right, good people. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. If this was a blessing to you, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Join us every Sunday for our Hope Ignited talk show. Bye.
Bye, y'all.